What is up, dudes and lady dudes? Welcome back to Justnutz, guys. Today, I've got another deck profile for you. I know it's been a minute. It always has been a minute, but I'm working on it. All right. Today, we have a really interesting deck. I know it looks kind of plain Jane, something you've seen a ton before, but trust me, it's different. This is Cyber Dragons, but with a twist. This is Cyber Dragon Stun. Now, the name kind of tells it all. It's literally Cyber Dragons, but then you throw a bunch of traps into it. So yeah, we're going to get into the list in a little bit, just a little background about the deck. The idea behind this deck is that Cyber Dragons already have inherent strengths going second, but you throw the traps in, it helps the deck going first, and going second, the idea is like it's a stun deck, but it plays better going second than most stun decks because you can rip out monsters off the field with contact fusion and stuff, and then you set a bunch of back row into an opponent's board and say, come back at me. You know, make a comeback play through my multiple disruptions now. So very good. I took it to our Yu-Gi-Oh! Case tournament for Ignition Assault Special Editions, and I actually went 4-2, which includes round one, in which I literally like threw the game away. I believe I actually could have 2-0'd that match, but I like flubbed it so hard, just made so many misplays. So finished 4-2, made 10th place actually out of like 45 play or something like that. But yeah, so the deck can be good, and that was also my first time ever playing the deck. So I definitely know more about the deck than I did then. And yeah, without further ado, let's jump right into the list. So for the monsters, obviously we'll start off with some Cyber Dragon stuff, the classic Cyber Dragon. Well, not the classic, but the best artwork in my opinion. I don't know. 3 Cyber Dragon core. This is pretty self-explanatory. This is like literally the best one. And then 2 Cyber Dragon hers. So this is all you're playing for the Cyber Dragon monsters. You really don't want to overdo it because you don't want to see a ton of monsters. You want to see like 1 or 2 monsters in your hand and then a bunch of back row. That's all you want to see. So this was a very good package. I thought the ratios were really good. I thought I never really saw too many. There was a hand where I opened all 3 core, but I actually think I might have won that game. I don't remember. Yeah. Anyway, 2 Inspector Border. This guy is also super nice. I think 3's a little overkill. You're going to have too many normal summons in the deck with like 5 here plus 2 there. And then we also have 3 Cyber Emergencies. So I didn't want to play too many normal summons in the deck, but this guy was really good when I saw him. Really, really good. And then the last 2 monsters in the deck, 1 Scythe, 1 Moral Attack. The reason I decided to play the artifact package is just because a lot of times you just end up with like core and hers and stuff, and you never actually put any offensive pressure on your opponent. But if you play Sanctum, you have another way to put another just body on the board that actually has a decent stat, so you can at least just keep swinging to every turn. Like just stun your opponent, swing for 21, stun your opponent, swing for 21. Eventually it adds up and it allows you to kill. It gives you another way to just like kill your opponent, in which otherwise like some of these cards can end up like just not really getting much of a stat line going. And that's it for the monsters, only 10. So then we move to the spells. Obviously 3 Cyber Emergency, and the only other Cyber Dragon spell we play is 1 Cyber Load Fusion. This card was so good when I played it. This weekend. This card was so good, man. I swear to God, I went into it. I used it like 4 times, maybe even 5 times, but it was really good. You pop back row, then you just get to attack 3 times with a 2100 beater. It's really good, and you get to send like core and hers. Hers adds back core, or adds Cyber Dragon from deck to hand. Like it's so good. So just the 1 Cyber Load Fusion. I wouldn't play more than 1 because it's just so searchable off core, and emergency gets core. All that stuff. Like, it's so easy to see. So I just think 1 is totally fine, but it's definitely a win condition for the deck. And then our draw power. 3 Extravagance, 2 Duality. Nothing too crazy here. I felt like if I'm playing 3 Extravagance, I don't need 3 Duality. It's just a little overkill. Because sometimes you do want to special summon. Sometimes you do want to contact fuse away. And so in those instances, Duality does lose its, you know, its oomph. So I felt like 3 and 2 was really good, and also Extravagance did not kill me all day. It did not take something crucial out of the extra deck all day, which is also very nice. And the last spell we played is 1 Scapegoat. I never saw this, but it's there ideally for kind of the same reason like Cyber Load Fusion is there. It's just a button, like a 1 card, like give you a big enough monster that you can just control, like win the game with some back row in that monster. So you can remove some cards on your way to an Avermax, and then you just support him with back row, and that should hopefully win you the duel. So yeah, never saw it though. Then we move to the traps, the I don't know, thickest part of the deck. We start with 2 Trap Trick. 3 was a little overkill. This isn't Trap Tricks the deck. This is just a card that has multiple good targets in the deck, so I thought it was a good utility card to play. I saw it a couple times. When I saw it, it was pretty good, and yeah, so just 2. And we play 3 Cybernetic Overflow. This card was insane. This card was so good, just searching it off of core. I had multiple duels where I went through all 3, but I never needed a 4th, so that was good. And I also got multiple searches off people popping it as well. And then 3 Sanctums. This is also really good, scything people, moral attacking people. And then also against the Spiral player, this was like the dirtiest because he popped both. I had a dead, I had no artifact monster in deck, and he popped both of these in one turn. And I got to pretty much just like break his board. He had, it was like a weird simplified board state where he had like tough, the last resort and resort on field, so he couldn't be targeted and he couldn't be destroyed. So we used the first one to pop resort and the second one to pop last resort, and I already had moral attack on field, so I could just beat over tough afterwards, which was really nice. That actually came up so clutch in that game. Then for the last 2 normal traps for Trap Trick, at least 2 Heavy Storm Duster and 2 Compulse. I almost wanted to play a 3rd Compulse, but Compulse was really good when I saw it. Really good, for sure. And then Heavy Storm Duster. It's just Heavy Storm Duster. It's back row removal. It helps unbrick if you ever draw a Scythe or Moral Attack. Plus the 2 Trap Tricks can get to this as well. And then if you're in a back row matchup, I did play a Stun player, and this pretty much was like auto win versus that deck. For sure, so that was really good as well. And then the last 2 cards we play, or the last 2 normal traps we played were 2 Evenly. This was nuts. I double even lead. I only played 2, and I was able to open double evenly versus the Spiral player. He literally had all 5 monster zone filled, the extra monster zone filled, and he literally had 5 back row. He like had the last resort, and then he set like 4 cards. One was like an impermanence, some other cards, like, and I just evenly baited the Tri-Gate and then evenly again and won the duel immediately. It was crazy. I was so blown away that actually happened, but it's also Spiral, so like how guilty can you feel? But yeah, 2 impermanents. This was insane. By the way, I would play a 3rd. I just only have 2. So if I had a 3rd, I'd probably swap something else out. Maybe if you don't feel comfortable playing Scythe and Moral Attack, you could take out the Moral Attack if you wanted, or something else. I don't know exactly what else. If you don't like Scapegoat, committing all those extra deck slots, like you could take out the Scapegoat. There's a bunch of options that player preference you could sub in for the 3rd evenly, but I definitely would play a 3rd. And then the final cards are some Solemns. We've got 3 Solemn Judgment, as well as 2 Solemn Strike. I cut the 3rd Solemn Strike that I had before for one of the Extravagances, because before I didn't have Extravagance in the deck. Yeah, these were good. I actually thought Judgment was way better than Strike. Way better. Just like stopping spells is like, I don't know, it just seemed better than Strike like all day. So I don't know. I don't know entirely on that, but at least today, Judgment was definitely better, and especially games 2 and 3 when your opponent's, your opponent's bringing the Lightning Storms, the Evenlies for you, you just say no to at least one of those, so that was really good. We're playing 40 cards in the main, not really messing around with a deck like this, a stun deck like this, you need to have consistency, so 40 cards for me, and then we move into the extra deck. So we'll start off with a Cyber Dragon Seeker, just 1 copy. Honestly, the only time I made him, I think I made him 3, maybe 4 times, was just to get a big body on board. Your opponent knows you have a core in, or hers, or 2 cores up. They know they can't out both, and they don't want to put a monster in the extra monster zone, so they just don't. So then you just make this, and you just like start beating over stuff, and he still counts as Cyber Dragon on the field and in the graveyard, so you can still contact fuse with this. But I just summoned him a couple times just to get a body on board, like a big 2100 body to start dealing some damage once I'd already like won the advantage war. So he came up, that's really all he comes up for, realistically. And then we move to the Scapegoat package. This is mostly Scapegoat package stuff. Link Karibo only came up once today because of hers is level 1, and it gets you a search. Then we play Security Dragon, Cerberus, Phoenix, Unicorn, and Avermax. So this is the whole package for Scapegoat. Pretty much the idea is you go like, he'll use him to make like monsters with different names for the nightmares, but you pretty much are going to go any combination of these 3. You're going to do 2 of them, and then those 2 are going to go into Avermax. You're either going to bounce a monster, pop a monster, then go into Avermax, bounce a monster, pop a back row, then go Avermax, or I guess theoretically you could go, well, if you have an extender, you could also go Unicorn in there, and so Unicorn was there for mainly utility as well. So yeah, that was pretty much that. I never drew Scapegoat though, so I only went into Link Karibo once and never into any of the others, which is kind of funny. And then for the fusions, the stuff you gotta play 3 Mega Fleet. You gotta play this, especially with Extravagance at 3. 2 Fortress Dragon. Only play this at 2. It only came up against the Unchained player I played. and hitting Jizukiru because he was playing a going second build with Kaiju. So he would Slumber, give himself the Jizukiru, and then I could hit him with this for the contact fusion on that. Did it twice to him, so that was pretty good. And the last card is Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon. I definitely would probably play a third copy of this with how good Cyberload Fusion was. I definitely wouldn't even risk, like, because I'm playing Extravagance, wouldn't even risk not having this in the extra deck in case I need that as a win condition going into Cyberload Fusion. So I did play as a last card Constellar Pleiades for cheeky plays with like 2 level 5 lights. We have the artifacts, which are level 5 lights. Theoretically, if you could ever get hers on field by a special summon, he would be level 5, but mainly it's like Cyber Dragon, Rampage, and like the artifacts are level 5s, but never came up. So I think I would probably just drop this and play a third Rampage. Just like I said, I just wouldn't even risk not having him with that, because one time I did have to use 2 Extravagances, and I did luckily still have one of these left over, so I could go Cyberload Fusion to beat the Spiral player in that second game. And so yeah, that was really, really clutch. But yeah, that's pretty much for the deck profile as far as like everything goes. The tournament went really well. I was really surprised. I was really like let down after round 1, and I really got my shiz together after that, because I went 4-1 after that. The only duel I lost was to a Lunalite guy who definitely knew what he was doing, definitely a good player. But it was just close, 2 close matches. I did get 2-0'd, but they were 2 close matches, so I don't know. Like I said before, the only change I would really make is play the third evenly. Evenly was so good. I saw it like 4 times over the weekend, and it was like good every single time, particularly against the Spiral player. I also hit the stun player, and that was also how I won one of my games, just clearing like 3 cards off his board. And then yeah, I don't even know what else. I think that was pretty much it. Is we just won. The deck was good. I don't know, like I think it's just a really cool take on a deck that is just so classic, but nobody is really only a few select people have thought about going at it from this angle. So I think if you have, like, I think that's really cool. It's a really cool idea. If you do like this style better rather than the go second OTK life. Oops. So yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts down below on this deck profile. Let me know what you think about the list. Let me know if you think I should change anything, update anything. I'm definitely always open to suggestions, but performed pretty well on our first try. Never even played it before. Never even played Cyber Dragons before. So I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down below as always, and I'll catch you in the next deck profile, hopefully coming soon, and I'll see you then. Peace.